Explain the Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herald here on Badlands Media. I'm your host, Jon Herold, and shitty Monday, guys. It's Monday. We cannot say happy Mondays, especially after last night. That, whatever that was last night, okay, so I was going into the Super Bowl, and I said this on the narrative last night, so if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry, but I don't know if everybody watches Bernie Wright Show. I normally don't, unless I'm on it. I was going into the Super Bowl like, it's a football game. I like football. Gonna watch it. Should be fun. But when the Super Bowl actually started or was like getting close, I was like, I don't have any interest in actually watching this game right now. And so instead, we just kept watching the Hulu series. We were watching the Paradise or whatever, me and my girlfriend, and didn't actually watch any of the game. Didn't watch any of the halftime show. Either one. Didn't watch the Bad Bunny or the TPUSA halftime show. Once our series was done, like the last episode, we got through all 8 episodes in a matter of like 2 days. It's ridiculous. But once it was done, there was the fourth quarter, maybe like 10 minutes left. So turned the game on then. And then after about like 3 minutes of game time, BB texts me, he's like, hey, we're going live here if you're going to hop on. So I went and hopped on there. I watched about 3 minutes total of the actual game. So weird. Didn't actually care. But everybody's like losing their minds over one way or the other. If you watch the Bad Bunny thing, everybody's losing their mind over that, and they should be. I mean, that was ridiculous. Just the idea of it. Haven't actually seen a single clip of it, which I'm doing just fine. But I also didn't watch the TPUSA thing. They're trying to make this whole thing a thing, and it's just, to me, it's like we talk about the whole bread and circus, like it's just a bread and circus distraction. And yet all those people who say that are like, oh yeah, everybody watch the game, watch the halftime shows. It's ridiculous. The TPUSA thing, though, the one thing I found interesting is last night during the narrative with Bernie Bright, when we were talking about this, people were like getting upset because we weren't like on the TPUSA pro-American halftime thing. And I'm very pro-American, by the way. But TPUSA, I'm not a big believer in what they're doing. Not that I don't think it's important to get the youth engaged and involved politically, because I do think that's important. I don't think registering voters for fake elections is a meaningful use of anybody's time. And if anything, I think it's a little subversive, because it is stuff like that, behaviors like that keep us like locked in this fraudulent election system. You've heard me say this a million times. We talk about it all the time. But people are getting like really defensive over the TPUSA thing. And then lo and behold, Trump comes out and posts this long post of, like how awful Bad Bunny is and whatever. And then video comes out and people were like almost attacking Trump, calling him a hypocrite because at his Super Bowl watch party or wherever he had that at, I don't know if that was Mar-a-Lago or the White House, they were watching the Bad Bunny halftime show. So what does it tell you when even Trump himself didn't watch the TPUSA halftime show? I don't know. But let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Moker says, good afternoon, Badlanders. It was a great show last night, John, on the narrative. Haven't watched any of that game stuff. Makes no difference. Good for you. I'm glad you like the show. CNS 1000. I don't support anything that promotes the largest human trafficking event in the United States. It's a good point. It's a great point. Bay Arthur's Dick saw the halftime while we had dinner at the bar of a local restaurant with my partner. Completely retarded with no artistic merit whatsoever. Clarecat367. I think that's actually a misrepresentation of why people were upset. Okay, explain why people were upset then. Richard Rohr, John, we've got bigger fish to fry, brother. It's all rigged, faking gay, brother. So let's clean this mess up and get her done, son. I was hoping you'd be here today, Richard, because I mean, you're here every day saying the same thing pretty much when it comes to that. But I do know, I did see in the lead up to the Super Bowl, a lot of decoders, a lot of Q people were like, we're going to see some EBS stuff. I got the receipts, guys. They were decoding that the EBS alert system or whatever was going to be set off. And that didn't happen. So what does that mean? Where do we go from here? This is awkward. Miss Rise Attire halftime show discussion has already played out. Low-hanging fruit, and all these people think it's the most important topic for shows discussed today. Yeah, I mean, this is the only time I'm going to spend on it because I don't really care. Phil Scarborough, what is this sports ball you're talking about? Speaking of big football news, guys, the NDSU football team, that's why I'm wearing this today. They're going D1. It's going to be exciting. Can't wait. Tim Dillon said we're all Q light. What does that mean? Didn't watch, don't care. Well, I mean, I'm glad to see how many people like don't watch and don't care. That's really cool. Because you shouldn't. As long as you recognize it is a bread and circus, I think it's okay to participate. Everybody needs their distractions. My son loves football. It's hard not to like watch football with him. And I like watching football too. But yeah. Does New England still cheat? Probably. Who doesn't? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. In sports, right? Isn't that the thing they say? Epstein files. Yeah, everybody's losing their mind over that. I would encourage you guys to go watch the narrative last night. So we talked about the halftime show. We talked about maybe not necessarily the halftime show because neither of us watched it, I don't think. I don't remember if Burning Brett said he watched it. But we talked about the controlled opposition dynamic that was whatever the Super Bowl halftime was and whatever the TPUSA thing was. And then we also talked about some of the Q stuff, some of the news, like how people are responding to the news. It's just, it was a pretty good episode, good discussion. But yeah, NDSU, they're going up from FCS to FBS, not just, they're already D1 technically, but they're moving up to the Mountain West Division just in football. So pretty cool. Granite of 4, what happened to Q after hours last night? Yeah, Alpha kind of last minute had to cancel. Don't know why. But they'll be back next week. Jay White 2020. I haven't watched NFL since Kami Kaepernick started his kneeling shenanigans. Isn't that weird how Phillip Rivers got a NFL starting job before Kaepernick? I mean, it's not that weird at all, but just funny. But good for you. There's not many people who like can actually stick to their principles. Nobody can do it 100%. You know, everybody tries. Even myself, like I talk shit about sports and being distraction and stuff, but I still like I grew up in sports. I love playing sports. I love watching sports. I coach sports for my kids. I coached sports before I had kids. I love sports. And I feel like sports were a big part of like teaching me my work ethic and like what I became today. So it's hard for me to like tune out of that stuff completely. Kyle, John, well, most are saying that we can have our stance against turning point issue in our election, but give them credit for standing up for America. Yeah, that's cool too. I mean, I said last night, you know, I'd prefer people watching a pro-American anything than whatever we got during the halftime show. And I don't blame people for watching. I'm just explaining my point of view and why I didn't and don't care. Shouldn't this whole broadcast be in Spanish? By the way, that's what Trump needs to do. That's what we need to do as a country. We need to advocate for, I think we need to remove Spanish from everything. We have catered to them too much. Last night shows what happens when you cater to these people. We, like, you know, when you make a phone call to an agency or something, you know, they start reading through the numbers. Press 1 for English. Press 2 for habla español. And like they go down the line. Let's get rid of all that shit. English only, always, nothing else. Let's put our foot down and stop messing around. Appreciate you, Richard Rohr. That's funny. Frederick Leathers, I heard what he's saying was full of crap that would have gotten the NFL fined if it were in English. Somebody should file an FCC complaint. Naturally, Nikki, we watched the live action Lilo and Stitch instead of the Super Bowl. We don't watch football. My daughter likes that movie. My daughter's super into Lilo and Stitch, and she actually hasn't even seen the original cartoon Lilo and Stitch yet. Trump did sign an executive order making English the national language, but I guarantee you call a business or a government agency, you're going to get options to do it in Spanish. Yeah, I don't care at all. Just not that into football this year. Good for you guys. But yeah, we'll talk about some things today. See what you guys want to talk about. It's Monday, so coming off a weekend. I mean, the biggest news, if you can even call it that, is the Super Bowl situation. But we'll talk about a few other things. There's a big change in the story from the DNI Gabbard and what like the whole whistleblower thing that's going down. We talked about it last week. We talked about it on Saturday's Power Hour. The author of that article made a little change to the story, and it changes the whole dynamic. And it was ridiculous in the first place, but now it's even more ridiculous. We'll get there. Let's get a quick word from our sponsors. First up, we got Tamarack Garden. Are you looking for a better alternative to the over-the-counter drugstore medications? Tamarack Garden began from parents' desperate need for safe and effective options for their kids, tired of toxic chemicals. Taking matters into their own hands, they began crafting medicine from weeds, wildflowers, and herbs, the original time-tested healers that modern medicine cannot match. Packed with antiviral herbs to boost immunity and fight illness, Tamarack Garden has, for a limited time, their elderberry and rosehip syrup kit available. Not only is it delicious, no more battles with the kids, and easy to make, it will keep you and your family healthy all fall and winter. And also introducing Tamarack Garden's new baby line, clean, non-toxic, and gentle for newborns and moms, relieving cradle cap, diaper rash, stretch marks, and postpartum pain. Visit tamarackgarden.com today and use promo code Badlands for $10 off orders over $50. Remember to eat your weeds. tamarackgarden.com, promo code Badlands. And I will say, not only are they great, fantastic people, they've come to Gart's, met them. The products are incredible. I would recommend, at the very least, get their cold killer, because last week when I was feeling like I had that like sudden onset runny nose, sneezing, I started taking that cold killer immediately. And even though I was like still congested for a couple days, my runny nose, for the most part, almost completely stopped because I kept taking it, and I stopped sneezing as much. I feel like it was because of that. I highly encourage you to check it out. We also got, who do we got? Oh, Conscious Strength, Boyd Jordan. Maha yourself with supplements that do not suck. From Conscious Strength, founded by Badlands' very own Jordan Sather in 2019, Conscious Strength products are made in America, and they won't break your bank, unlike other online brands. Their lineup includes collagen for strengthening joints and hair, electrolytes to get rid of those cramps, greens powders that taste good and mix easy, Shilajit gummies, methylene blue, zeolite, and more. Flip the finger to pharma, be your own doctor, and get supplements that you can trust from Conscious Strength. Go to badlandsmedia.tv/strength to shop now. One more time, that's badlandsmedia.tv/strength. The link to both sponsors should be in the description of the video. Yeah, what else you guys got going on? Razor Sharp, I did not watch the game, but did watch the TPUSA halftime. It was great. I did hear a lot of people like with positive reviews of the TPUSA thing. So I'm really not trying to knock what they were trying to do. I mean, even from I'm a believer in capitalism. Like even just presenting an alternative, it's a smart business decision. You got all the people on board to push it and support it. They got a lot of views. So I'm not trying to knock that. You guys know how I feel about TPUSA. Like Jordan with his little pointy hand. It's hilarious. Yeah, he's hysterical. He gets a bad rap sometimes because he has fully embodied the highly frictional, value that we hold near and dear to our hearts here. But he's done it since before it was cool, and so he used to get a bad rap for that. But he's typically over the target. Ash 1776, Civil War Devolution on my mind. DM'd you the link. Oh my goodness, what is it? She says, check this out. Jefferson Davis was elected president of the Confederacy today, and in a speech a few months later, he wrote, he sort of cites devolution as why. The quote is, the cause in which we are engaged is the cause. Let me just pull this up and show you guys. This is from Ash. So if it sucks, it's her fault. Cause. Let's read this whole thing. The cause in which we are engaged is the cause of the advocacy of rights to which we were born, those for which our fathers of the revolution bled, the richest inheritance that ever fell to man, and which it is our sacred duty to transmit untarnished to our children. Upon us is devolved the high and holy responsibility of preserving the constitutional liberty of a free government. And they applause. It's awesome. Those with whom we have lately associated have shown themselves so incapable of appreciating the blessings of the glorious institutions they inherited that they are today stripped of the liberty to which they were born. This is really good. They were allowed an ignorant usurper to trample upon all the prerogatives of citizenship and to exercise power never delegated to him. It has been reserved for your own state, so lately one of the original 13, but now, thank God, fully separated from them, to become the theater of a great central camp from which will pour forth thousands of brave hearts to roll back the tide of this despotism. When was this? Jefferson Davis in 1861. It's so good. Apart from that gratification we may well feel at being separated from such a connection is the pride that upon you devolves the task of maintaining and defending our new government. I love how much he's saying devolved here. I believe that we be able to achieve the noble work that the institutions of our fathers will go to our children as sacred as they have descended to us. In these Confederate States, we observe those relations which have been poetically described to the United States, but which there never had the same reality. States so distinct that each existed as a sovereign, yet so united that each was bound with the other to constitute a whole, or as more beautifully expressed, distinct as the billows, yet one as the sea. Upon every hill, which now overlooks Richmond, you have had, and will continue to have, camps containing soldiers from every state in the Confederacy, and to its remotest limits, every proud heart beats high with indignation at the thought that the foot of the invader has been set upon the soil of old Virginia. There's not one true son of the South who's not ready to shoulder his musket, to bleed, to die, or to conquer in the cause of liberty here. That is interesting. Do you think if somebody like invaded California right now, that people would take up arms and go and defend California? Like, I know there are good people in California, so like, don't get me wrong here, but what California has done and what they represent as like the butthole of America, I don't care to defend that. I'm just being totally honest. I don't want anybody to take our land as a country. But I just feel like my point besides, once again, telling everybody that California is the butthole of America, I love saying that. But the point is, I don't think that same spirit of, unity exists as a country anymore. Like, yes, we have a military and they're going to take their orders and go do what they got to do. But if things were like, even just, if we didn't have the military, if you take the military part out of it, and it was more militia based and people had to like take up arms to go defend, I don't know if we'd get the same result as we may have back in the day. I'm curious what you guys think. The bunny, no, I would not defend them, but I'd go get my peeps out of the way. Phil Scarborough, I wouldn't. Virginia too at this point. I mean, there's a lot of states like this, I think, where we'd be like, no, screw them. Ash 1776, they beg for the feds to defend them. So what if the feds are the ones invading? That's what I'm saying. John's description of California sounds like a Bad Bunny lyric. How do you know, Ash? Did you watch? Did you watch last night? Evander says it has to be taken back before it can be defended. I love it. Absolutely love that. Yep. And I agree. Anyway, let's talk real quick. We'll go through a couple of these. Doge, I didn't even check, but no surprise. No update on the Doge website. Silver right now is at 82.80. Let me see if it's changed at all. Yeah, 82.80. The presidential white or the White House website had a few changes. Most of them are having to do with tariffs. They modified tariffs for India because Trump had a phone call with them. Things are good now, whatever. And that has to do with the Russian Federation. They also had one having to do with protecting the national security and welfare of the United States and its citizens from criminal actors and other public safety threats. This is more just building upon some of his previous executive orders. They also established an America First arms transfer strategy. They're trying to capitalize on how we handle like trading arms and selling arms to allies and whatnot and what we get in return, addressing threats to the government of Iran. I'm not going to go into the details of any of those because none of them got me all that excited. River, Bitcoin, badlandsmedia.tv/river. Bitcoin kind of leveled back out around 70K. And then let's talk about this. Oh, what was that lady's name? Oh, yeah, this Kate Brown. So this Kate Brown, she is the one who came out with that story on The Guardian having to do with DNI Tulsi Gabbard. And she put out a correction, which completely changes the context of the entire story, even though the story is bullshit to begin with. But she changed it. Remember what happened last week. Everybody's going after DNI Gabbard. They're clear. The enemy is clearly scared of who she is, what she's doing, what she represents. And I think a lot of it has to do with election fraud. We'll see. TBD. But this story came out of this whistleblower who there's an intercept. And the story originally was somebody in the NSA picked up an intercept of somebody close to Trump. That was the quotes, close to Trump, talking to a foreign intelligence, like somebody working for foreign intelligence. So the implication is somebody on Trump's team or somebody close to Trump, we don't even know, was talking to a foreign intelligence asset. The correction they put out was that they picked up a phone call between two members of foreign intelligence talking about somebody close to Trump. Let me show you this. Last spring, the NSA flagged an unusual phone call between two members of foreign intelligence who discussed a person close to Trump, according to a whistleblower's attorney who was briefed on details of the call. So it wasn't even anybody close to Trump talking to a foreign intelligence asset, which that is like the same playbook that they did to take out Michael Flynn. This is clearly a bogus story. They're trying to either impeach her, Tulsi, or Trump or whatever. But it's not even like involving Trump, actually. It's two other foreign people talking about somebody close to Trump. And they're trying to make this a thing? Like, who cares? I mean, I'm curious to see what they're going to say was said and what had to be investigated as being credible. Like, what were they saying about this person close to Trump? Like, were the two foreign intelligence agents saying that? I don't know. I can't even think of anybody like close to Trump that's not in the admin. Alex Brushewitz or whatever. Were they saying Alex Brushewitz is like a spy for them and doing things or whatever? Like, what are they going to say? But it's not even like somebody in Trump's orbit actually talking to a foreign intelligence asset. It's two other foreign intelligence assets talking about somebody on Trump's team. These people talk about each other all the time. Even if the original version of the story was accurate, I wouldn't have cared. It's probably a BS story anyway, but even if it was a legit story, wouldn't have cared. Like, I would expect people in Trump's orbit to be talking to foreign intel and foreign leaders, and like, that's how the world works. That's not abnormal. But now you're just telling us that you intercepted other foreign people talking about somebody in Trump's orbit. This is the stupidest thing ever. This Kate Brown, I feel like, is going to be sued, probably. It was her who wrote it, right? Yeah, Kate Brown. She's probably going to be in trouble. Like, that's a major, major correction. Another anonymous source. Ash says wrap-up smear. And I told you guys, we're now referring to those as pap-up smears. We'll see if someone gets relocated. Freedom One. I can't imagine what we could actually accomplish if people didn't create so much divisive clown show. What divisive clown show are you talking about? I agree. There's as a victim of a lot of people trying to divide us from our supporters. I agree that we could probably accomplish a lot more if people would stop doing that. I feel like it was only about making money with the Super Bowl. That's like what a lot of these people do. How much were commercials going for? I didn't watch it. I didn't get to see a single commercial. And by get to see, I should say that differently because I didn't care to see. I didn't see a single Super Bowl commercial. Actually, no, that's a lie. There was at one point I went to check the score of the game, and it was fairly early on, and there was a commercial playing, and it was muted, right? Like, so the volume wasn't on, and it was just one of the Williams sisters, tennis players, dancing. It was like super awkward. It was like weird, and I just turned it off. Some medical thing. John, have you read the latest amicus brief filed the Supreme Court on birth certificates? Came at it from a completely different direction than anything I read before. Are you talking about the Joshua Steinman one? Because if so, we talked about that on Saturday's Power Hour. Ash forgot the speculum. What's up with Steve Bannon? Yeah, there appears to be a pretty dedicated anti-Bannon op. I'm not jumping on that bandwagon quite yet. It definitely seems to be supported by Trump. But yeah, a lot of people are going after him right now. It might be justified. I don't know. I don't really watch Bannon that much. Like, I see some of the stuff he does. I think he's pretty on signal most of the time. Like, traditionally, he's been pretty on signal. It's unfortunate to see, him potentially talking shit about Trump behind the scenes if those are legitimate communications. But, people say shit in private conversations that they wouldn't say publicly. That's a life. Every one of you has done that. Don't act like you don't. But yeah, I'm not ready to crucify Steve Bannon quite yet. The information war is insidious. Sure is. Candace is a big proponent of dividing Meg and destroying TPUSA. I'm beginning to wonder if she has become a deep state pawn. Yeah. That's the thing. There's just so many motivations from so many different people. Like, everybody has different motivation to do things. There are people who I believe are, in this space, like in the info war, earnestly trying to figure things out, earnestly trying to do things for the right reasons. Like, they exist. I think we have a lot of them at Badlands. I don't know if I've met many outside of Badlands I can say that about. Like, people that I know personally, like, I can't, it's tough for me to say that about others. But like, money's a motivator. Like, how many people have taken money in exchange for messaging? I'm sure that happens all the time. Some people are just legit bad actors. In an info war, they're gonna fund people to divide the movement, and you see that coming from everywhere. Yeah, I don't know. Mike Tyson teamed up with Maha, I hear. Guess they did an ad. That's cool. I was late to DPH on Saturday. It was at the beginning. I don't remember when it was. Bannon and Elon have beef, so there's that. Yeah. Drinking 45, I'm sick of all of it. Final demand. Stop watching the NFL 16 years ago. This is a $10 rant, by the way, so thank you. They hate you and they hate America. Most watched halftime in history thanks to retards who bitch about it and share it. My whole X feed is Shaky in Spanish. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit Saturday, and I had a tweet about that yesterday too. It's like, everybody's, we're gonna win the culture war. You just gotta, you gotta, what do they say? What do they call it when you don't watch something? Protest. Duh, man. Maybe when they cut my hair, they took some of the brain with it. You got to protest the halftime show, which is why they did the whole TPUSA thing. But then all those same influencers who are the ones saying that are posting a bunch of Bad Bunny halftime clips. They did the same thing with the Grammys the other day. And that's what we talked about on Saturday. It's like all these people who, like, we need to stop spending our time talking about the whatever Hollywood and people down there. All their content for that whole day was Grammy stuff. Boycott, that's the word. Thanks, guys. It's a Monday. It's a shitty Monday. So somebody posted a story on Facebook with some of the lyrics that he was saying in Spanish that nobody understood, and it was disgusting. Yeah. I'm just like really don't care about that. I've spent very, very, very little time looking into his lyrics or watching the videos. Anytime it's come across my social media feed, I've just scrolled right past it. Do not care. And that's another thing too. When it comes to the culture war, like we keep saying we want to like win the culture war. Like you can't do it with shitty product. You know what I mean? Like there was gosh, I can't remember the name of the artist, like the rapper, maybe it's like Trump's nephew or something. I'm sorry, but his music is just not appealing. Like we don't have to support bad music just because it's got a pro-America or pro-Trump message. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like we could support good people with good music, and the people are like pro-American and they're, you know, they operate with integrity. They're not like sellouts. They don't talk shit about America. Like we can support those people, but like you're not going to win a culture war by supporting people who are just like singing pro-American music if the music sucks. Like that's not how you win back culture. Just another shitty Monday. Wish it was Saturday. Yeah. The week will go by fast. Bad music. Yeah. Badmusic.com. I should start writing music. Because that's the ticket. All you have to do is write pro-Trump music, have pro-Trump or pro-America stuff in the lyrics, and people will celebrate you. And that's not how you do it, in my opinion. D Cool 3. How are they going D1? They don't have a small stadium. They can fit like I don't know, not to give you guys comms, but here's your opportunity to decode me today. They can seat about 17,000 or so in the Bison Stadium. Ramon 222 says it will take decades or generations even to win back the culture war. Perhaps that is not God's plan anyway. I don't know. Do you think we're going to win back is it more important to win back the culture first? Like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? That reminds me, I got to read Chris's new article. Like, do we take back our country? I mean, at some point we have to win back the culture in some form or fashion. And I don't think it's just getting rid of, you know, like it's going to come with getting rid of all the bad people. But we also need to espouse the culture that we want. You know what I mean? But we're in a very difficult spot right now to try to win the culture. And I don't have the answers, guys. I'm not a very cultured person the way it is. So, but that's a tough one. We've been so subverted intentionally. And to get people to like change their mindset, yeah, to Richard Rohr's faith, family, freedom, that's not easy to do. Go says politics is downstream from culture, right? Yeah, people say that. I think it's both. It goes both ways. John, do you want to cancel culture? That's funny. Matt Trump, good to see you, Matt. Bizarre Super Bowl commercial had overflowing urinals, just like State Farm Arena on 2020 election night. Didn't see a single commercial. Yeah, I'm not going to listen to the Bad Bunny without auto-tune. Create your own label. Bad music. You already have blue eyes. That's true. PenW, yeah, I'm not saying we shouldn't continue to fight. Like, we should continue to try to take back the culture. I think it starts in the home. It's hard enough there, the way it is. Baylor's Dick John, I think we have to win culture war, make elections fair and transparent, and destroy the central banking cartels simultaneously. Yeah. I mean, you're right. Tattoo teacher, took generations to get here, will take generations to get out. Sad but true. And kids today too, like the younger generation, the priorities are just so backwards. Like so many people, they just want to be social media famous. That's all they care about. And that is translated through the incentive structures provided to them on social media. And we see it bleeding into what we have today in the social media. I don't know. I don't know how you fix it. I wish I had all the answers. I know I appear and most often do have all the answers, but on that one, I do not. Weird story going around right now about related to the Epstein stuff, and I'm so sick of the Epstein stuff. I'm just sick of it. But there are stories that are, adjacent, attached to it that I'm going to talk about. But this is the one. Maxwell can clear Trump's name in Epstein probe in exchange for clemency, says the attorney, her attorney. And this is what they're saying. Ghislaine Maxwell, jailed for 20 years for conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to abuse minors, sent a clear message to Donald Trump today that if the president were to grant her clemency, she would clear his name of any wrongdoing as it pertains to Epstein. Separately, members of Congress can review unredacted versions of the Epstein files at the Department of Justice today. And that was another big news. Like, everybody's like, all these redactions now, well, the government can go in allegedly and look at all the unredacted materials. I think it was it who was saying Massey? They were saying they were going to go and read all the names of the politicians and people and stuff. We'll see if he does it. He's been kind of threatening us with that good time for a while. But I obviously do not think Trump should do this. Trump doesn't need to get his name cleared. There's been nothing that's actually brought forth to show that his name is not clear of wrongdoing. And this is some of what we talked about last night, what relates to the Epstein files. Like, it's been created to be this huge thing, and that it's toxic to anybody associated with it. And they're trying to get people from Trump himself to his inner circle, his admin. People are calling for them to resign for association, guilt by association. It's the epitome of that. That's why we're seeing these other foreign leaders doing it and business people doing it. I think it's an op to try to get Trump, to damage Trump. But yeah, who cares, Ghislaine? There hasn't been anything he needs to be cleared of because nothing's come out that's actually showed that he committed any wrongdoing. So obviously I do not think Trump should do this. And I doubt he will. But who knows? DHS funding sources tell CNN that Republican and Democrat negotiators have yet to make significant progress on a funding solution for the Department of Homeland Security as they face an agency shutdown by the end of the week. And this is what I've been saying. This is what I said before the shutdown. This is what I said when they were first talking about separating the 2-week DHS funding thing out. What a dumb move by the red team. Because you're giving the blue team everything they could have asked for, and there's no reason for them to pass this unless you give them the farm. I don't even know what that means in terms of the red team. Like, what is the farm to the red team? But looks like we're going to get another partial shutdown. The agency they want shut down. So stupid. Evander, doesn't stating that in part clear his name? Exactly. Frederick Leathers says, isn't her saying she can clear his name a confession that she has evidence to clear his name? Yeah, the whole thing is so stupid. Phil Scarborough, where are all the victims of the Epstein op coming forward with the list of names? They could easily step forward and start naming names. Doesn't add up. Fishy. Hashtag fishy. I've been saying, guys, How many people got mad at me over, it's probably not you guys here watching, but I feel like there's a lot of people who probably don't watch me anymore who got mad at me because of my thoughts on the Epstein files and me calling them like an anti-Trump op from the beginning and pointing out that Trump isn't the one who ever promoted it. I feel like I'm being proven more and more right. Not that I care whether I'm proven right. Somebody had said something here. Patrick Kekstan, good to see you, man. It says, ran into family and the kids. We're super excited to see my Satoshi Bitcoin pickleball t-shirt. We learned all about Bitcoin watching Tuttle Twins videos. There is hope. That is cool. I like hearing about the kids getting into Bitcoin. Second, CH says, make a deal with her, get her information, then kill her. What? You don't need to do any of that. Elf Boy, I don't watch you anymore. Funny, you're here in the show, in the chat before anybody else. You're always the first one waiting to watch me. Am I supposed to care that 3-letter agency loses funding? No, we're not. But I'm just saying on a normie level, like the normie paradigm, that's what I think is so funny. Just basic negotiating art of the deal 101. You can't give the enemy everything they want and then expect them to come to the table to like try to claw some of it back. It was so stupid. It's not coming from a mile away. Phil Scarborough says Trump's been calling it a hoax. Maybe it actually is one big hoax, as in most of it is made up, not real. I don't know. I think there's aspects of it that are probably true. There's aspects of it that are probably fake. Phil, if you haven't yet, I would go watch The Narrative last night and, skip forward to the part where we talked about Epstein. Because I don't want to just like repeat all my amazing points I made last night. Quiet Coney. Attorney Robert Barnes has said for months that someone at DOJ has purposely scared Donald J. Trump over the Epstein files. I don't know. Well, how would he know that? I don't think any of these people actually have inside sources. And if they do have inside sources, like people that are working at the White House and stuff, none of them actually know what's going on. Like, there's very few people. The people that I think are actually read in on the specifics of what's actually going on, whatever the plan is, like whatever you want to believe, whatever layer that is, level that is, I don't know. But the people that are in the know, like the super in the know, they're not leaking to people doing podcasts on Rumble. They're not leaking to people like us. They're not leaking to anybody. Good people, like good intentioned people that are trusted by Trump and are actually in the know, they are not leaking, period. Anybody that doesn't actually know what Trump is thinking, doesn't actually know what's going on. They're feeding you bullshit. That's my opinion. So yeah, maybe somebody told Robert Barnes that Trump is scared about something, but whoever told him that doesn't actually have a clue. It's bullshit. That's my thoughts on it. Ransom for Guthrie is $6 million in Bitcoin. You think she's still alive? Because I don't. I also think it's probably an inside job. Frederick Leathers says, I have unnamed, unaccountable sources high in the administration, and they are black. So if you say you don't believe me, you're a racist. Oh, yeah. If you guys missed Saturday's Power Hour, we have decided to henceforth self-identify as Black Jews. So anything you say against us negatively is racist. Anything you say against us is also at the same time anti-Semitic. And we should have all the bases covered. I think that there might have been one other thing that we identified as to cover. Maybe we said we were trans Black Jews or something. To like get the smorgasbord. Tranny Black Jews, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah, so nobody can say a bad thing about us ever again. Because if you do, you are racist, anti-Semitic, and I don't even know what it means to be. Like, what do we call people when they're making fun of people who like have dicks but cut them off and pretend to be women? Like, what do we call those people? Anti-trans? Team Smooth, can we identify as Semites and create more discombobulation? Yeah, it's all so stupid. Here we have Politico talking about the midterms. No money, no bench, and Trump. New York's GOP is in trouble. The midterm talk is going to get real hot and heavy, and I'm like pre-annoyed for it. Not ready for it. Here's what I was talking about with them trying to get rid of Howard Lutnick. Let me pull up the archived version here. Howard Lutnick faces bipartisan calls to resign over latest Epstein revelations. It's pretty clear to see how this op worked. You make this thing super toxic, make it this big, elaborate, story of what it is. This, child rape, blackmail operation, which, again, I know this is going to be hard for people to hear, as I said last night, but we haven't gotten proof out of the Epstein files yet of either of those things. Not that I've seen anyway. Like that we've seen, obviously there's like, these are not good people. The sex trafficking aspect, I think they're guilty of it. Like they were they weren't 18, whatever. But the way it was sold to us of the child, like I'm saying young, child rape and blackmail operations, that we haven't seen proof of that yet. And I'm sure Media Matters is going to quote this, but they made this thing. They made it toxic to be associated with it. Trump never pushed it. Everybody else did. And now they're trying to get people to resign. Senator Adam Schiff accused Lutnick in a statement Monday of having lied about the extent of his connection to Epstein. Was Adam Schiff in the files? Anything that come out yet? I don't know if I've seen his name floating around. Oh man, they signed me out of True Social. What the heck is this? It's going to show you a couple of Trump's True Social posts. Trump has a shout out to Viktor Orban today. He posted this picture again, which is hilarious, where it's Canada and everything is all American. Oh, come on. It froze up on me. Guys, it just like kicked me out. My internet. Now everything's like messed up. I think my browser just like restarted. That was so dumb. Oh my gosh. What a freak. This is why Mondays are so shitty, guys. This hasn't happened on a Tuesday. I've been booted from StreamYard on Wednesdays. Freaking Monday. So annoying. And I lost all my tabs that I had open, even though I didn't have any more tabs left. And look at that. I say that I'm a black tranny Jew, and my browser becomes instantly anti-Semitic and kicks me out. I feel like I have a lawsuit on my hands. How dare they? We need Congress to pass a bill that anybody who boots me from my StreamYard is anti-Semitic and has to pay a fine or something. John keeps freezing for me too. Yeah, my bad, guys. All the tabs you don't have anymore are closed. Yeah, the tabs that, I had some more tabs, but they all shut down. There was an interesting Twitter post I want to show you guys. Somebody, a potential government insider, made a bet on like Kalshi or Polymarket or whatever. Yeah, right here. Let me share my screen. So this is pretty ballsy to do. There's a wallet, and I don't know what this is on, like what app or whatever, but somebody just bet $100,000 that the U.S. would strike Iran by the end of the day today at 2% odds. And if that hits, they win $4 million. The wallet was inactive for 460 days and has only participated in one other market ever. Very unusual behavior. Definitely a wallet to watch to see how this plays out. So people are thinking like, okay, why would anybody make $100,000 bet on that with the deadline being today? Like, what do you know? What do they know? Seems fishy. Yeah, this is Polymarket apparently. Almost makes me want to like make a bet. Because if they're right. And this person says they're trying to push the market. I don't know. Anyone who disagrees with me is literally Hitler, says Ghost of Base Patrick Henry. Yeah, that is Mark Levin. Could you tell me where you got this cool squares light behind you? I don't remember. I think they're what are they called? Hold up. They are, is it Govee? I think they're Govee. Yeah, they were like a couple $100. They were sitting in my office for so long. Yeah, they're Govies. They're like glide things. But I think this week I'm going to turn my desk back around. Just FYI. How's DC pizza order monitoring? I don't know. Was it Barron placing the bet? Maybe somebody's planning a false flag. Saturninian symbolism. Yeah, you caught me. What else? I don't even know what else I want to talk about. Is there anything you guys want me to talk about? Otherwise, I'll probably end up just passing you guys over to Y-Chromes. We have a new document from the Select Subcommittee. New documents prove Ray's FBI predicted a January 6th type event could happen as early as September of 2020. Sophisticated deliberate cyber intrusions targeting potential victims of DVE violence, such as law enforcement, government entities, religious or ethnic institutions, and so forth. Collecting personally identifiable information, developing pattern of life, and getting active response from extremists. Escalation from threats to an increase in violent attacks against individuals based on race, ethnicity, and religion. And I'm a victim to all that now, so I understand the hardship. Attack harder government. I don't know. Seems a little clickbaity. Select subcommittee on January 6th. Who's your... Is this Loudermilk? Yeah, it's Loudermilk. I don't know if I'm fully in agreement with that interpretation. But yeah, guys. Wear a hoodie with a mask and make the room dark. Be ominous. Oh, I should do that. Pretend to be like that Anon guy. You know, I bet somebody... You could totally do that. Any one of you guys could stream from a dark room, wear a mask with a hoodie, and just be super ominous and say things. And as long as you say like 17, trust the plan, choice to know, whatever the keywords are, you'll get people who think you're legit. And you could probably sell a few bridges to Brooklyn. Tommy's wrestled prospects to or for JJ McCarthy next season. I think he's out. I don't know if they'll drop him. Probably keep him as backup, but kind of sucks. Banks are supposed to prove they have sufficient silver on hand to cover ETFs starting today. That's news. I didn't know that. That would be a great social experiment. You're absolutely right. Or you could even, like, you don't even have to do that. You just start a website with use a domain name that is a keyword. I don't know. And then just put a freaking countdown clock on there or a puzzle or something. People will eat that shit up. Guarantee it. Solomon had a hit on War Room today about the release of this classified document. Well, let's look at that hit because I need to understand why I should emotionally react to what Barry Loudermilk put out today. Solomon, January 6th. And after this, we'll get out of here. I guess I don't know, but there's a story about it. Well, maybe not. Here's the story about it. FBI secretly prepared for disputed election and political violence in 2020. Bombshell J6 memos show. I don't know. That seems a little weird than the thing we just read. Like, it seems different. The FBI conducted a tabletop exercise in summer 2020 that imagined what sort of violence might ensue in a contested presidential election that year, devising strategies like undercover informants and mass prosecutions for minor crimes that it would later use with the January 6th Capitol riot. FBI Director Kash Patel turned over the long secret memos to Congress last week, providing fresh evidence that federal law enforcement was acutely concerned for months ahead of time about the potential for violence in the aftermath of the election. Do we got the memo? Here we go. Okay, so now I actually do have documents I can read. So what I'll do is I'll read through this for tomorrow's show, and I'll let you guys know then what we should be emotionally upset about. Sound good? Do you have a deal? Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Maybe share it around to your friends and family. Leave a comment. Tell me what you guys, how you want me to change things on the show, whatever. Or if you love it, that helps too. But let's try to grow the audience a little bit. And yeah, hit the thumbs up. I'll be back tonight on Basis Conspiracies at 10:30 p.m. Eastern with Zach. Should be another great episode. I don't know what we're discussing yet, but we'll figure that out. But otherwise, you guys have fun over on Y Chromes. I'm going to send you over there. Get yourself some soft disclosure. We have Valentine's Day coming up, and your opportunities to get it there on time for Valentine's Day are getting shorter and shorter. So get yourself some soft disclosure, softdisclosure.com. Hit the thumbs up. I will see you guys tonight on Baseless Conspiracies. You guys have a shitty rest of your Monday.
The following ad is rated M for mature. Soft Disclosure wants you to get naked this Valentine's Day with limited edition his and her bundles that save you 20% off the individual retail prices. Proprietary oil infusions, grass-finished beef tallow, goat's milk from American goats, locally grown herbs and ingredients. Soft Disclosure is putting America First fruits on your skin.
And for these sexy bundles, we've added an all-new boar's haired beard brush and a solid jade gua sha. And the reason I'm here is because Alpha doesn't know how to say these words.
Gusha. His, hers. We need a moment to calm down. Don't hide your skin. Disclose it. Get naked this Valentine's Day with Soft Disclosure. Head over to softdisclosure.com and save 20% off individual retail prices with our his and hers customizable bundles, and use promo code NAKED to save 15% off the rest of the site. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Promo code does not apply to bundle discounts.
Real good.